Welcome back. This is lesson 4, and in this lesson, we are going to show you how you can teach your child to safeguard themselves. Now, this format and process is best done in far more detail through the protective behaviors course, and I'll give you information about that later. But I've tried to summarize it just so that you get an idea that you can teach your child how they can keep themselves a whole lot safer. And so a broad outline, and it focuses on 2 key things you can teach your child. The first is about personal awareness, and the second thing is the actions that your child can take. Under personal awareness, there are some very basic things that you can teach your child, and you have to consider doing that. And the first is the early warning signs. How do you know that your child may be under stress? Your child might already be potentially under influence, a bad influence. What are the things you can see in their behavior, maybe physically as well? What are those early warning signs? How will they know that this is an unsafe environment? And the child can be taught how to do that. The second thing is safe and unsafe touch. When somebody touches them inappropriately, that makes them feel uncomfortable. There are a number of ways they can pick up when this is a safe touch or this is an unsafe touch. And the same in the third instance, what would be considered public and what would be considered private? Now, for them to get to understand their body parts, for example, is an important element, because they need to explain to you if they feel that they're being inappropriately touched where they shouldn't. The same is with keeping of secrets. Which secrets is okay? Like it's Granny's birthday at the end of the month. Don't tell her, but we are preparing a surprise party. That's a relatively safe secret to keep, compared to an unsafe secret that a potential perpetrator could be asking them to keep. Don't tell anybody our private little secret. Okay? So there are early warning signs, things for them to take cognizance of, and if they feel uncomfortable, they've got to do something about it. How people touch them, inappropriately especially, and what they need to do in that regard. And then the keeping of unsafe secrets is also something they need to be aware of and to do something about it. So let's move to B, child actions that they can take. The first thing is we need to teach our children to be assertive. If they don't like what's happening to them, they must be able to say no. No, you may not touch me there. No, I don't want to know your private secret. No, I feel uncomfortable in this space with you. And there are different ways of being assertive. And we'll get to that. When that doesn't work, they go to their network. They're people that they know they can trust, like mommy or daddy, or their caregiver, so that they can go and tell what is happening to them. Now, hopefully it's the parents, if you're there, yes, And if the parent does not know what to do in that situation, if it's not as straightforward, the parent needs to have a parent's network. Where will you go as a parent for further advice? Okay, you have to build that network. The go-to persons. You, the go-to person for the child, but who is your go-to persons? And it doesn't have to be just one. Hopefully, between husband and wife, mommy and daddy, you'll be able to resolve it. You'll be able to know what action you need to take. But the child may also have others that you recognize as being good go-to persons when the child needs to take further action. So it could be the teacher, or it could be grandmother. But ensure your child has a go-to network. When you are not there, where does the child go? They need to know that. Then you need to teach your child persistence. It's not a once-off. If somebody wants to get at your child, they will keep on doing that. There comes a point where the child cannot say no anymore. Even if they shout it, the perpetrator is insisting. So they have to persist. They have to go back to their network. They have to keep on asking you until action is taken and until eventually the situation is resolved. For the sake of the child, every issue that a child faces and that the child raises must be amicably resolved. And the child needs to feel that, experience that, and know that for themselves. Now, I mentioned protective behaviors. I will give you the link. And this is just to give you an idea. There are things we can do. There's lots more that we can teach the child. But the basics is, remember, we're talking about there's a potential, I use that word perpetrator quite often. There's someone that may have intentions of causing harm in one way or another, and the child needs to pick up whether what they are doing is okay for them or not okay at all. And if it's not okay, there are things they can do. They can say no at that point in time. They can come to you for help. They can ask. Don't stop with you. Ask the teacher, ask someone else in the family, until somebody, if not a number of people, does something positive to remove the risks. And that's critical for your child to know as well. Teach your child safety procedures. It could save their life. I found this interesting quotation by Jordan Sarah Weatherhead, and it simply says, our job as parents is to protect our children. Yes, we are the first teachers of the child, and we are also the protectors of our child. But equally as important is teaching them how to protect themselves. I really want to encourage you to think about that very, very carefully. We can shield and hide our children away from stuff like this to our own detriment and certainly theirs. Rather be proactive and do it in the best way necessary for your child to fully understand the potential dangers they are going to face and how best to deal with that. In case you have need for child support or to report abuse or neglect or anything, I've given a series of phone numbers. I mean, obviously, if you suspect a crime was involved, you have the duty to report it to our South African Police Services, to SAPS. Don't hide it. Don't put it one side. The long-term impact and effects of abuse and neglect and violence perpetrated against children is a lifetime of potentially psychological damage, the trauma that's inflicted, and so on. It's very difficult for a child to overcome it. And it's hard work to deal with it. Remember, we want to prevent it from happening. But should something have happened, you have to find the best help you can as early as possible. Don't delay it. Don't let it carry on. Don't hope for the best, that it will change and the child will outlive it and so on. It's got to be dealt with at that point. There's the FCS. You can call as well, Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences. There's a helpline. There's Missing Children line. The SAPS Crime Stop is there. Childline is there. NGOs and institutions like Childline, Social Development as a Childline. An organization I've really come to respect is Matla Abana. And then there's child welfare, and there are many other services, social workers, etc. Ask for help. Get all the relevant institutions to help you as best as possible for the sake and the benefit of your child. Remember, the welfare of your child is paramount. What happens to your child is of the greatest concern for you. I will post this as a download for you as well. We've come to the end of lesson 4. The 4 critical lessons in this course. Don't forget your next activity by now. You know that it is the quiz, and then we'll move to the closure. Thank you.